The dawn mist clings to the valley like a living memory. In the quiet province of Harima, Japan, a boy awakens to the sound of a temple bell echoing through the cedar hills. The year is 1584. His name is Shinmen Benasuke, but history will remember him as Miyamoto Musashi, the man whose sword and spirit would become legend. In the early hours, the air is thick with the scent of rain-soaked soil and the faint hum of cicadas. Farmers move through the fields, their straw hats bending with the wind. Smoke curls from village chimneys. Life in Miyamoto is simple, but within the walls of one wooden home, a destiny sharper than steel begins to take form. Musashi's father, Shinmen Munisai, was a samurai of skill and ferocity. A man shaped by battle, whose scars told stories no scroll could capture. His discipline was absolute. His patience, thin as the edge of a blade. And his son, Benasuke, would know no softer world. Under his father's strict eye, the boy learned that a sword was more than a weapon, it was a mirror of the soul. Each morning, Munisai's voice thundered across the courtyard. Focus. A warrior's hesitation is his death. The young boy's wooden sword struck against the air, again and again, until his arms ached. Sweat soaked his robe, but his eyes never left the movement of his father's blade. In every strike, every parry, Munisai demanded perfection. But what the boy learned most was not the cut of steel, it was the weight of control, the silence between movements, and the will to rise even when his body refused. When training ended, he often visited his uncle, Dorinfo, a Buddhist monk at the nearby temple. There, incense floated in still air, and the quiet murmur of prayer replaced the clash of wood and sweat. Dorinfo taught him that mastery of the sword meant mastery of the self. A true samurai, he said, does not draw his sword in anger. He draws it to preserve balance. The words took root, though Musashi would not yet understand their full meaning. At 13, his first duel came. A wandering samurai named Arima Kihei arrived in Miyamoto village, boasting of his skill, offering a challenge to any who dared face him. No man accepted. Only the boy stepped forward. The villagers laughed, a child with a bakken against a trained swordsman. But when the duel began, laughter fell silent. The boy struck first, raw, unpolished, but fearless. Arima's hesitation cost him. Within moments, he fell to the ground, blood seeping into the dirt. The villagers gasped. The boy who once practiced among rice fields had just defeated a warrior. From that morning on, the name Musashi carried weight. But in the boy's eyes, there was no joy, only a quiet understanding that the path he had chosen would never be peaceful again. Years passed. Musashi grew into a man of the road, a ronin, masterless, wandering across Japan. The country itself was torn by war and ambition. The feudal lords fought for dominance. The age of peace was distant, and the way of the sword ruled all. Musashi's feet carried him from province to province, temple to temple, his blade his only companion. Each duel was a test, not of his enemies, but of his own resolve. He sought not fame, nor gold, only truth. To understand the blade meant to understand the world itself. He wrote later. Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye. This was Musashi's creed, the belief that true strength lay not in muscle, but in clarity of mind. His travels brought him to Kyoto, the heart of Japan's samurai culture. There stood the Yoshioka school, famed for its discipline and prestige. Its masters were feared and respected, their teachings passed down for generations. To challenge them was to challenge history itself. When Musashi arrived, he was only 20 years old. Dust clung to his kimono, and his hair was tied carelessly with a cord. To the Yoshioka students, he looked like a drifter, unrefined, unimpressive. But when he spoke, his words cut sharper than any sword. "I've come to test my strength," he said. The first match was against Seijiro Yoshioka, master of the school. The dojo was silent. Tatami mats creaked underfoot. The air felt heavy, the scent of cedar thick and cold. The two warriors faced each other, Seijiro with his polished katana, Musashi with a simple wooden sword. Seijiro attacked first, swift and precise, his strike slicing through the air. But Musashi stepped aside, calm and effortless. One counter, a single arc of his bakken, and the master of the Yoshioka school fell to the ground. The silence that followed was deafening. Humiliation burned through Kyoto. The Yoshioka clan demanded revenge. Days later, Seijiro's brother, Denshikiro, challenged Musashi to a rematch. This time, the fight was to the death. But Musashi did not arrive at dawn as agreed. He came late, deliberately. He knew the mind was the first battleground. His lateness shattered their composure. When he arrived, the sun blazed high. Denshikiro, blinded by fury, rushed forward. Musashi's wooden sword struck once, swift, decisive. The second Yoshioka fell. The legend grew. But victory, to Musashi, was not triumph. It was study. Each duel taught him not how to kill, but how to live. As the years unfolded, Musashi's duels numbered more than 60. Some were fought in open fields, others by riversides or in temple courtyards. He often faced men stronger, faster, or higher in rank. Yet none defeated him. He lived simply, often in isolation. Rivers and forests were his teachers. He watched how bamboo bent under storm winds, how water flowed around rock, how silence carried more weight than words. Every movement in nature was a lesson in rhythm, balance, and timing. At 30, Musashi faced his greatest rival, Sasaki Kojiro, the master of the long sword, famed for his technique known as the Tsubain Geishi, the swallow's return. Kojiro was elegance itself, tall, graceful, his blade a whisper of silver. His duels were poetry, his victories precise. When Musashi challenged him, Japan held its breath. The duel was set for Ganryu Island, a small patch of land surrounded by sea mist. Musashi arrived late once again, not from arrogance, but from strategy. He carved a wooden sword from an oar as he rowed across the waves, shaping it with calm precision. When he stepped onto the island, the sea breeze lifted his hair, and the sky burned red with morning sun. Kojiro drew his katana, long, gleaming, deadly. Musashi gripped his wooden blade. The duel lasted mere seconds. A single strike. The oar-turned bakken shattered the air, and Kojiro fell, lifeless upon the sand. The sound of waves returned, soft and endless. Musashi bowed his head. No words. No triumph. Only the quiet understanding that even victory comes at the cost of peace. From that day, he vowed to put aside the way of killing, and instead, seek the way of wisdom. Years passed. Japan began to change. The wars waned. The sword, once the heart of the samurai, began to fade into ceremony. Musashi withdrew from the world, settling in caves and temples across Kyushu. There, surrounded by stillness and stone, he began to write. His final gift to the world was a small, humble book, the Book of 5 Rings. In it, he spoke not of battles, but of life, discipline, and perception. He wrote, "Do not think dishonestly. The way is in training. Become acquainted with every art. Know the ways of all professions. Distinguish between gain and loss in worldly matters. Develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything." Every passage revealed the mind of a man who had transcended war. The sword, he taught, was a metaphor, a tool for cutting through illusion. He described the world as composed of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and void. Earth, the foundation, to be steady in all things. Water, adaptable, flowing, ever-changing. Fire, fierce and consuming, representing the heat of battle. Wind, the knowledge of other schools, the wisdom of comparison. Void, the formless, the understanding of that which cannot be seen. In these teachings, Musashi gave the world more than strategy, he gave it a mirror to the soul. His lessons reached far beyond swordsmanship, touching philosophy, art, and leadership for generations to come. Even in his later years, his discipline never wavered. He painted with the same precision he once wielded his blade. His brushstrokes flowed like strikes, swift, unhesitating. His calligraphy, simple yet profound. Each art form was a continuation of his search for truth. When illness finally struck, Musashi accepted it as part of the path. In his final meditation, he sat upright, his sword at his side, and his eyes calm. He left behind not riches, not armies, but a philosophy that would echo through centuries. Today, the name Miyamoto Musashi is spoken not only in Japan, but across the world. His teachings continue to guide warriors, artists, and thinkers. His life reminds us that mastery is not born from power, but from purpose. He showed that the sword's true purpose is not destruction, but creation, the forging of the self. That fear is an illusion. That time is the greatest opponent. And that a warrior's final victory is over his own ego. As the sun sets over the mountains of Harima, the spirit of Musashi lingers in the whisper of the wind, in the quiet of temples, and in the stillness of the blade resting in its sheath. The boy who once held a wooden sword in a small village became the embodiment of an eternal truth. That greatness is not found in defeating others, but in understanding oneself. This is the untold legend of the blade.